Hello.
Hi Tana, this is Neil.
How are you, Neil?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, I guess. Because of the pandemic, things are not that great.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like I already got so used to it that at this point I'm just considering this to be our new normal, so I don't take it as a I don't let it affect me too much.
Yeah, everybody got used to it at this point, but it still kind of gets into your head sometimes.
Yeah,
O-
definitely.
Okay,
How
so to
are you
start
right
this,
now? Is it early? Is it early morning for you?
yeah, it's 9 a.m. at the moment.
Yeah, okay. So it's not too bad. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, so to start off, let us first introduce our audience to Pour My Beer. So, what is Pour My Beer?
So I would introduce PourMyBeer as a revolutionary self-pour technology, which enables faster and more efficient access to beverages. At this point, it's anything like cocktails, wines, cold brew, or even kombucha. That's really popular here in the United
Okay,
States.
okay,
And you can enjoy this self-pour technology and pour any drinks that you like by the ounce. So that's one of the huge benefits. That way, customers can taste.
okay. So your customers are mainly, I'm guessing, from the food and beverage industry, like bars and restaurants, maybe.
Absolutely, but lately we've been seeing a lot of changes. I would say, especially before the pandemic hit, we've
Okay,
had a lot of, more unique customers, like for example, racing venues, bowling alleys, and even more unique, like a train car. We also have several military bases. It's just a little bit of everything. We actually just did an installation in Airstream.
okay.
So I think that Pour My Beer is definitely not just for bars and restaurants, as many people perceive it at the first sight. We have probably 12 different type of establishments and businesses that use Pour My Beer system.
Okay, that's very interesting. So your market is kind of constantly expanding for you as new opportunities show up in different segments.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because coming on a board, I was told, yeah, our target audience is definitely tap rooms and restaurants and bars. And
Yeah.
right now, it's shifting a lot to office spaces, definitely grocery stores, even hotels, hotel lobbies. It's definitely getting some twist there for sure.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So I would get to the part where we talk about how you are managing things during the pandemic and how things changed. First of all, let's dive into the marketing for my beer. So, what are the marketing strategies you use for my beer, and what has been the most effective for you?
Okay, I definitely run mainly on the content marketing, creating valuable and helpful content that educates our prospects and leads in general. And since we are in B2B space,
Okay.
we also don't sell anything really cheap. The leads really keep doing their research, and they keep coming back to our website. So I always want them to find something new, something relevant, and hopefully helpful on our website. And I work really hard on that. So hopefully that's the case. And I would say I particularly like hospitality industry. I really enjoy the space. So
Okay.
above everything, I would like if basically all the restaurateurs and bars or brewery owners view Pour My Beer as one of those helpful brands that even if the software is not for them, they still can come to us to find those helpful resources on our website.
Okay, so you are generating traffic from organic sources like maybe search
A lot of
engine.
organic, yes. A lot of will be content marketing by doing just valuable checklist, any sort of valuable gated content, and definitely blogging and pages with the information that they're looking for.
Okay, so what are the biggest challenges in marketing you have faced while working for Pour My Beer?
Challenges. COVID. It's
Yeah.
probably yeah, that's probably the biggest one. But if I were to say something else, I would say that it was to get everything organized at the beginning.
Okay.
Our website didn't have a proper structure and organization when I first came on the board. We also didn't have any onboarding process for our customers. That drove me crazy. We also just didn't have any proper relationship management with them in place, and didn't have any email automation in place, like nurturing campaigns that we have right now. So just everything really seemed pretty disorganized at that point. So that was my huge focus the very first few months when I joined.
Okay, so did you solve these problems using multiple tools and stuff like that, or did you hire people or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say that slowly and surely I got all the different messy areas in the right place, or at least close to the right place where I want them to be.
Okay.
I spent some extra nights back in our old, like where we were based back in the day in Merchandise Mart in Chicago. So I just spent some extra time to really organize everything the way I liked it, and I could see that the team was grateful too, and putting some helpful tools in place was also important. So I would say Salespanel is one of them. I also really like Asana. It definitely helps me track what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and just coordinate and kind of collaborate with my team.
Okay, so about coming to tools here, so you are also using Pipedrive, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so what are the tools that you use right now? Like, what are the main things?
So I would say, by the way, PourMyBeer used Pipedrive even before I came on the board. That was their CRM. I started after using CreateSend, and that was my email marketing tool. I wasn't too happy with that, so I switched to ActiveCampaign. And because ActiveCampaign also has its CRM, I am using their CRM for my marketing purposes, basically customer relationship management. So my sales team uses Pipedrive. I am using the ActiveCampaign CRM.
So how long has your company been using Pipedrive? Are you aware of that?
I think that right now it will be over 3 years, something like that.
All right. So why did you start using Salespanel, and how does it fit in your system?
Well, so it was me who brought it on the board. And I basically wanted my sales team to have a better visibility in the leads activity, what pages the leads have visited, what they have viewed, how many visits they have done, how long ago did they visit our website, and things like that. This was something I was used to by using HubSpot in my previous job, and I just wanted to have the same visibility for my team. And Pipedrive itself didn't have that. So I wanted to add something on that will give them this, and Salespanel came like a perfect solution.
Okay, that's fantastic to hear. So before using Salespanel, how was your process for importing leads from marketing to sales, like to your CRM?
I had what is it called? I forgot what's the name of this app, but I'm using an app that is basically doing this automatically for me. So just populating the leads for me in there. But really the main thing is right now for us with the Salespanel, that right now for the sales team is much easier to create more meaningful conversation with the leads, because they know, what resources exactly were the leads viewing, what pages they have visited. For example, you don't want to send them the same case study, or the same page again as a resource if they have been on it a couple times, right?
Yes, right.
The panel really comes to place, and it provides a good idea to them on what topic they should touch and what topic maybe they should not.
Okay, so we can say that Salespanel provides sales intelligence to your sales teams.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so how do you find our service and support overall?
Oh, great! Definitely very responsive and ready to troubleshoot when, if and when an issue arises.
Okay, that's fantastic to hear. So, addressing now the elephant in the room, the pandemic. So, so this last few months have been kind of stressful for all of us in general, but like I can understand that your customers are from the food, beverage, and other like places where a lot of public gather, but things have definitely changed with the crisis. And how are you managing the situation?
Yeah, so of course we had to change and tweak. Who did not, right?
Yeah,
That's just the world we now live in. Basically, all of our content became COVID related, and also all our communication with the customers and even with just prospect generally had to change. Some of our main messaging, I definitely updated plenty of spaces, spots around the website and our homepage. Lots of video tweaks, things like that. And I remember that there was a moment in April when I just suddenly looked at my to-dos because I have like a small to-do, you could say whiteboard, where I just write those 5 main things that I have to finish that day in order to feel like that's a successful day and I got things done. And I just looked on that day and I realized like, wow, everything is COVID related. Like, you post COVID graphics with your customer, create COVID site prep email, finish a blog post on how to keep sales flowing during COVID. Everything was just like COVID. And it made me pause and really realize how different this spring was compared to the previous year when I was slammed with trade shows and other small events that we were doing. Yeah.
Okay, so I think so now coming forward to a few months later, I think the dust is kind of settling, and although the marketing and the business has changed overall, it's like many places are still opening up slowly, especially in the US. Like US is kind of opening up faster, I guess. So how do you think this new thing looks like, and like the new normal, and how you are coping with this, and how your customers are coping with this?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a difficult time for many of them. We have customers that are extremely successful right now because they really heavily started doing delivery, takeouts, and things like that. And the big thing here in the United States is that people are really used to going out, and people do like to eat, and some of them don't like to cook at all. It's very different than from where I'm from. So I don't think that the crisis in the hospitality industry is gonna have a really long term. I just think that it's just gonna have a long term for a business. Like it's gonna have a really bad impact for businesses that are not willing to adapt. I'm seeing it heavily with all our customers that are modern and open-minded and are willing to adapt. They are doing well, and we have a lot of customers. As long as their state is really not in a bad shape where it's just not letting them to be open. As long as they can be open, they're finding their ways, and there are so many customers that surprisingly are even doing better right now during the pandemic than they were before. Of course, I'm really happy to see that, and I wish everyone could be in the same place. But in the US right now, a lot of states really, like one state varies from another when it comes to cars can be open or not.
Okay, so you also organized events for PourMyBeer, as you just said. So now that thing is not happening, how's your strategy changing for that? Can you tell me in detail? Like you used to do business events and seminars and expos and other things.
Yeah, all that is kind of what I mentioned with my previous spring. Last spring, we were so busy with National Restaurant Association show and with Pizza Expo and other small events that we were doing. So my spring was just running around like a maniac and flying from one place to another to organize different events and just spreading the brand awareness for us. This spring was definitely very different. Definitely no flying, just sitting home. And working from computer. But my vision is that, I worked as an event manager before even coming to PourMyBeer. So I love people, I love events, and I believe that there is so much more when it comes to meeting someone in person rather than just doing online events. Online events are right now an answer. That's just the only way you can really run them at this point. But, I strongly believe that down the road, they are going to start, as things are going to be starting to come to some new normal that we'll have. Events are going to start happening again. And I don't think that in the long run, we will replace, for example, regular events in person, getting to know people and really, our future PourMyBeer family members, that we would ever replace it fully with online. It's just not what we like to do and where our heart would be fully.
Okay, so what you are saying is that because of the pandemic, you and your customers both are adapting to new situations, but once the dust settles and the status quo will be kind of restored?
Yeah, so among many things that we as PourMyBeer started to do for our customer, we started doing helpful kind of like we call them PourMyBeer family. So we started doing a helpful chats with other PourMyBeer family members, where basically several of them hop on, and we have one as our main guest. And that way they can learn from that experience for my beer family member. Typically, we choose somebody who has been running the business at least for a couple, 3 years or more. And it's also always somebody who is doing really well in terms of sales, sometimes even expanding with other locations and things like that. So we just want, for example, the new member, which some of the newest members I feel really bad for, because, we've had many PourMyBeer family members that joined among when the pandemic started. So imagine you're supposed to do soft opening, you've just invested so much money in your business, and suddenly pandemic hits, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a great opportunity for them to learn a lot from other experienced members and owners, because they can better adjust to whatever is happening right now.
Okay. So all of us hope kind of that things get back to normal by next year, hopefully. This year is kind of...
Let's hope for the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now coming to some of the fun stuff, I found from your LinkedIn that you have joined the Bellevue College as a marketing teacher. So can you tell me about your experience?
Yeah, I can see you've done your work. Yeah. This was quite random, to be honest. I've always liked the teacher who had an actual professional experience from the field the most. And so when I was asked by one of my ex-professors, Kyle Barber, who is now a dear friend to me, if I could help out with teaching an advertising class this spring, I did not hesitate twice. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I knew that my travel is all canceled. I'm not going to be able to get outside of the home too much. And I do love young people and meeting new people. So I realized this is going to be great. This is going to keep me busy and distracted. And to be honest, that's exactly how it has worked out for me. So I'm glad I said yes.
Okay, so as you already know, I kind of did my homework, and also you just said, so I noticed that you have been a student there as well in Bellevue College. So how does it feel to go back now as a teacher?
Yeah, well, different. Different is really the right answer. I would say that as a student, I was a student and I had a scholarship. So I think that I'm a little bit more diligent and sometimes perfectionist. So I think that as a teacher, I'm probably a little bit more difficult, and I have high expectations because that's what I expect from myself. So I feel like if I'm expecting that of myself, it's fair for me to expect that from others. As a student, I feel like it was a little bit more stressful at the time, just because I had to balance out paying the bills myself and these while working. While now as a teacher, this is not my primary job, right? PourMyBeer maybe my main focus. So this was more just hey, I'm gonna want to pass my experience to someone young who can benefit out of this, and maybe I can help some of the young students down the road get some internship or get some connections. So yeah.
Okay, so are you going to do this for a while, or is this a temporary thing?
Yes, I plan to. We'll see how long the pandemic lasts. Because things might change again once when I have to start traveling for work again. But as of right now, I think I'll be sitting home for a while, and because of that, I would still like to part-time teach, because I think it's a great experience. And to be completely honest, it's a really entirely different perspective when you look at the same book as a teacher compared to when you are at it as a student.
Okay, so you like traveling, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I love traveling. I'm a European who lives in the US. I fly all over the place all the time, and I travel a lot. I definitely love exploring. Yeah.
Okay, so this is, do you like America better than Europe? So this is a personal question.
That's a random question, but I would not say that. No, I as a woman, I very much enjoy some of the freedom that I feel like America can give you in the workspace.
Okay.
Compared to Czech Republic, to be honest, that's my home country. I don't think it would be fair if I compare it to entire Europe, because the country is so much more different. But when it comes to that, I'm grateful to be here, and I feel like I have a much better opportunities here professionally. But besides that, there are so many great things about the U.S. that I really like, and there are so many great things about Europe that, for me at this point, both of these continents are my homes.
All right. Okay. So before we close, would you like to share any marketing tidbits or hacks or anything that has worked for you, like for our audience, like anything that comes to your head?
Oh wow, there is just so many. It very much depends on the on the target audience that who
Yeah.
they are trying to reach. But I would say if they have the time and energy and they like to write, content marketing goes such a long way. It's amazing. It can be very strong. If they just want to get attention really really quickly, I think that Facebook ads can do that for people for very little money. So as long as you target the right audience and play with your audience properly. For me specifically, retargeting audience has been working particularly well. So that, and besides that, just find your favorite podcast or find your favorite book, and and go back to it often, so you can, because I will tell you that reading the same book 2 years later or listening to the same podcast 2 years later brings up totally different perspective.
Okay, so now that you have mentioned Facebook and advertising and retargeting, I wanted to share something with you about Salespanel. So this is a quick teaser. We will talk about this in detail with you later. So what we are doing is we have a personalized retargeting solution that kind of, like, for example, that can do a lot of things. Like you can only show ads to people who are actually relevant to your business for B2B. Like Facebook advertising is kind of in the B2C group, but we have kind of tweaked it for B2B. So for example, we can say that, like, you get a lot of traffic on your website. Some of them are not, like, they bounce on one page visit, or some of them stay up for a while. So you can choose who you show your ads to, and also you can personalize based on, like, even for identified prospects like that are already on your Pipedrive CRM. Let's say if somebody is on a particular deal stage, then you can tweak the ad automatically to show relevant content based on the deal stage. So if somebody is almost close to buying and it's almost close to the end of the pipeline, so then you can show a relevant content so that makes them take the decision and things like that. So we'll talk about this in which we'll share the details with you later if that's something that's helpful for you.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I will be more than happy to read more about that and learn more.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for joining me, Tana. It was wonderful talking to you as always.
Awesome. Well, very good talking to you too, Neil. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you.